The Washington Wizards signed DC native Saddiq Bey to a 3-year, $20 million deal. But the question is, does it justify the Denny trade? We're going to talk about it with my special guest, the State of the Wizards, tonight, next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So today, I got my guys on here, man, the State of the Wizards podcast. I got my man DCHoopla and WizTakes. How you guys doing tonight, man?
Doing all right, man. How are you doing?
Chilling, man. You know, Wiz Twitter already active, man, with Saddiq Bey versus Denny, man. So we're definitely going to talk about that tonight, man. And we're going to talk about Kyle Kuzma real quick. And is 2 first-round picks still going to happen? Or, we're definitely going to chop it up about that, man. So let's get into it. Saddiq Bey, the Wizards signed him to a 3-year, $20 million deal. The story was broken by Wojnarowski out of ESPN. And he said, quote-unquote, free agent forward Saddiq Bey has agreed on a 3-year, $20 million contract with the Washington Wizards. His agents, James Dunleavy and Jordan Gentler of Excel Basketball, tells ESPN. Bey, who was recovering from a torn ACL, averaged 13.7 points and 6.5 rebounds in 63 games for the Hawks before the knee injury. At age 25, Saddiq Bey, a Washington, D.C. native, is a good long-term play for the rebuilding Wizards. So I'm going to start with Hoopla real quick. What do you think about the move? And looking at the fact that, looking at the Denny trade, does this move for Saddiq Bey make you feel better about the Denny trade, or does it justify it, or how are you feeling about it?
I feel pretty neutral about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I was surprised to even see that we made that move because I didn't see it coming. So it doesn't really move me at all. He got injured like 4 months ago, so he's recovering from an ACL injury. So you might as well look at it that this upcoming season, you might as well just look at it. That's $6 million that's just kind of thrown in the wind because I don't think he's going to play until maybe half of this, if not even 75% of the season is gone. So he doesn't add any additional wins. If anything, he's just here to rehab and eventually be flipped later down the road. That's how I view it.
What you think it would say?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't really know what's going to happen with Saddiq Bey. The ACL injury, we knew about that. Him coming back from the ACL injury is going to obviously prolong the timeline for his return. So, I'm looking at it that I think that the Wizards are probably going to allow him to, change the culture in the locker room, basically, in so many words. But I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know what is going to happen with Saddiq Bey because I'm not really understanding the signing to begin with. Yeah. So maybe if you can give me your take on it, and then I'll go off of that. Let me hear what you got to say about it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm with you when it broke, because it was actually DCHoopla that told me it broke, man. I had to go in there and check it out, man. And at first I was like, why? You know what I mean? And It's not that I dislike the move because his age 25, and I guess he's a young prospect. But like you both said, coming off of ACL surgery is just a questionable move in my opinion. Not that I hate the move, it's just it's a questionable move. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's a very cheap contract. I mean, 3 years, $20 million. So I mean, they're definitely going to boost his value and flip him at some point, because my argument is this, when they made the statement that this is a long-term move, that's the part I don't get. You know what I mean? Long-term move for a 25-year-old, but then you traded the 23-year-old who you drafted, you developed, you signed to an extension, he broke out. So that's the part I don't get, is that you traded a 23-year-old, which I get it. We all knew that everybody on the roster was tradable outside of Black Bali. So, it's not that I'm shocked by the Denny move. It's just a sequence of it. When you see Denny getting traded, I was fully expecting that Kyle Kuzma was going to be gone. Landry Shamet was probably going to be gone. Tyus Jones is going to be gone. So there's a sequence of it is really the questionable part. But look at the Saddiq Bey. A lot of people saying a long-term move, and is he replacing Denny as that 3-and-D guy? I don't see it, man. I mean, I like Saddiq Bey, and I think that the one question mark is this. With ACL surgery, in those type of injuries, it's a mixed bag. What kind of player you're going to get in return? Now, it's not like it was 15, 20 years ago. Now you guys are coming back. They're relatively the same player as when they left. But still, man, you still don't know what to expect when he gets back. So, I mean, I like the move. I do like the move because the contract is cheap. And you have a guy that's going to be able to sit there, get healthy, develop, because he's still 25, so he's still developing. So it's not that I don't like the move. It's just, you know what I mean? It's to me, it's a high risk move because you're banking on the fact that he's going to come back and be that same player with the ACL surgery. And if you look at most of the moves for veterans on the team, they're to a certain degree, in my opinion, they're high risk because you're banking on the fact that you might be able to flip them. Jonas Valanciunas, do I think that is a good complementary move for Alex R? Absolutely. But then he's 32, and his stat line shows that he's starting to decline. So, you don't know what kind of player you're going to get at age 32. And same thing with Malcolm Brogdon. The talent that Brogdon has, but he's injured all the time. So, you're banking on the fact that he's going to be healthy, which, good luck with that, man. It's tough banking on an injury-prone player. So,
yeah,
with Kuz, man, you're expecting that his value is going to stay here. And people get on me and say, oh, well, you're saying that his value is going down. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not going to get any higher. That's the difference. So,
I mean, basically, how I feel is, Saddiq Bey was signed as a player that is obviously going to fill in actually the small forward position just in case Kuzma or let's say Kispert is gone. So you have another insurance in Saddiq Bey. But outside of that, yes, he's cheap, low risk, high reward type of player. Outside of that, it's really tough to say what Saddiq's role is going to be other than someone who's going to come here and probably change the culture or help change the culture. But I also asked DC Hoopla this. I said, the Wizards could look at it as he's an addition piece, right? Or he could be a replacement piece, or he could be a trade piece. So those three things, he kind of, that's kind of where Saddiq Bey fits for me. I don't really see him being long-term, but he's also signed for 3 years. Who else is signed for 3 years? Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah.
Kuzma got 3 years left on his deal. So it's fitting the timeline of what Dawkins and Winger see in the current on the current roster and the current timeline. So I don't know. I feel like personally, I don't want to get too wrapped up in it with my personal feelings about it because I know that there's a method to Dawkins' madness, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned those three players, you mentioned I call him bulletproof because it seemed like this dude is like he just keeps dodging these bullets every time his name is mentioned in trades. I'm talking about Kuzma. But you have Kuz, Poole, Jonas, Saddiq Bey. All their contracts expires in the 2026-2027 season.
Right.
All of those guys. And if you think about it, all of those guys who I mentioned are 25 and above.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell that these guys are just short-term players now. With bulletproof, I can't say if he's short term or not because every time that his name is mentioned in a trade, he's never moved. So you almost have to ask yourself, is the market telling you how they value him? Because the only way you're going to get 2 first-round picks, and I know people say, well, you can get 2 first-round picks for him. Look at what they got with, not Mikal Bridges, but what's his name? Miles Bridges. Look what they got. It is Mikal Bridges. I'm getting the Bridges mixed up. But look at what they got for him. Well, there's a big difference. Bridges is younger than Kuz. There's potential there for Bridges. There is no potential for Kuz. We can't potentially trade him away. So I'm like, what kind of conversation we having? And people say, well, we need him here because he puts up numbers, this, that, and that's fine. He's putting up numbers, but if we're trying to change the culture, also get our foundational piece, we're not going to be able to get it if bulletproof is still here.
You both bring up really good points, though. And the biggest thing is the timeline, right? Because if you look at the fact, what happens in 3 years? Bilal Coulibaly becomes eligible for that extension. So they want the money off the books by the time they would re-sign Bilal. Because, look, call like it is, the keys have been officially handed to Bilal and Alex Sarr. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That tandem is the foundation of what Will Donk is going to build upon. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, because you guys, again, nailed it. Look at the contracts for Jonas Valanciunas, 3 years. Jordan Poole, 3 years. Kyle Kuzma, 3 years. Saddiq Bey, 3 years. So, they're definitely making moves that I think
fit
out
the
of
timeline.
Exactly. And I think that out of all the four of those guys, man, I think that they're all movable at some point because you want to get value from them. Before you want to get that money off the books, you want to get value from them. Now I'm with you, and we about to talk about Kuz, man, because he slips punches quicker than Muhammad Ali. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Man.
I'm trying to tell you. So we're gonna get into Kyle Kuzma in a minute, man. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. So as you guys know, I go to games all the time. Right now it's baseball season, man. So I'm rocking to the O's. I'm rolling with my Nats, man. Matter of fact, my guy WizTakes, man, we roll over there to see the O's and the Yankees tomorrow, man. So definitely tune in for that, man. But look, Gametime, there's 3 main reasons why Gametime is better than other ticket apps, right? Why are they? Well, number one, last minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets, not only for sports events, but concerts, comedy shows, theater shows, etc. What else? All in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Last, the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Good Lord. So look, take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Had to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, Kyle Kuzma. We were just talking about him, man. His name has been brought up in a couple of teams, primarily the Kings, and he's been linked to the Kings since going back to us shipping Russell Westbrook to the Lakers, because people forget that before we send Russ to the Lakers, he was this close to going to the Kings, man. So the asking price is still 2 first-round picks. We got it with Denny. Do you still see that happening with Kyle Kuzma, or what do you think is a more realistic package for a team that wants to acquire his services? And I'm gonna start with WizTakes.
No, I clearly don't believe that Kuzma's worth 2 first-round picks. I think that you can package him to get those 2 first-round picks, but Kuzma by himself, he's not worth 2 first-round picks. I think he can at least get you 1. He may be able to get you 1, but not 2. And I think about what Dawkins and Winger basically did during the trade deadline last season when the Mavericks were said to offer two first-round picks for Kuz. And then they went to Kuz and asked him, did you want to go to Dallas? That probably was your only chance to actually get those 2 first-round picks. So, I mean, is it possible, in the last year of his deal where we're really trying to come off of his contract? But even then, you got to think he'll be 30 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So you may have no other choice but to attach a player to Kuzma at that point to get those 2 first-round picks. But I look at the fact that I'm looking at Kuzma's contract now. It's a very team-friendly contract. He's making 23 this year. He'll make 21 million in 25-26 season. He'll make 19 mil in the last year of his deal. You think, yeah, that's a very team-friendly deal. Anybody would trade, for that contract, right? But if you really think about it, he gets older with that money as well.
Yep.
So he's actually playing at the value of that contract. And other teams are not going to go above that value unless Kuzma becomes an all-star. That's why I said it's important for even guys like Jordan Poole to have a Brunson type year or a Halliburton type year, because he'll never get anything more than what he's making already with his current contract. So at the end of the day, everybody's gonna have their opinion about it. But right now, Kyle Kuzma is worth $23 million on the market, and that's exactly how teams are valuing him. They're not gonna break the bank for him just because he's averaging 23 points per game on a bad team.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. What are you thinking, Hoopla?
So when it comes to bulletproof, I'm gonna keep calling him that until he's gone. But I'm only going to assume that the front office is looking at the TV deal that's supposed to be coming to play. I think I guess it kicks in with next year.
Yeah,
in 2025, that TV deal money, not the one that they just recently did, but I know. Well, I guess they're looking at it with that coming in, and when the salary cap goes up, then eventually they'll be able to move Kuzma. But again, he's getting older with the contract, and as Takes had mentioned, bringing up the fact that Michael Winger went and asked the guy, "Oh, you want to go to Dallas?" I'm like, what? This dude don't have a no trade clause. What are you asking him that for? Like, it's supposed to be a business, because that's the reason why when they traded Denny, I was shocked, because I'm like, I wasn't expecting it on draft night. I'm not mad about it, because I knew at some point they were going to move him.
Yeah.
They did it so quick. And we already know that they didn't go to Denny and say, "Hey, do you want to go to?" I mean, once they was told what that package was going to be, they went ahead and executed the deal. So if there's mutual interest for him to go to Sacramento, why hasn't anything been done? I mean, Sacramento pivoted and went and got DeMar DeRozan. I mean, and they're still saying, "Oh, we have interest in Kuzma." Okay, well, I got interest in my bank account. I mean,
I know, right?
Say much of anything. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, if there is interest, why is there not a deal being done? And I agree. I've said it with Takes. The same way we got Kuzma is the same way you're going to have to get rid of him. How do we get him? In a package. How are you going to get rid of him? In a package. So bulletproof strikes again.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, he's got that. He's the Teflon Don, man. I'm trying to tell you. I mean, he shakes off trades, but I'm with you on Kuz, man. I mean, going back to Denny, I wasn't surprised, but it's just a sequence of, you want to see the vets, because I fully expected that they were going to get rid of most of the vets at the deadline. I was very surprised that he didn't go to Dallas. And here's the thing with people to say that he's worth 2 first-round picks, and they always allude back to Dallas. There's a reason for that. They wanted to give us Grant Williams. We had to take on a bad contract to get 2 first-rounders. It was just a clear-cut 2 first-rounders that we had to take on salary for that. And that's why Will Doggies, that's a big reason why he didn't make the move. Obviously they're saying that, he talked to Kuz, but, and I'm with you. That bothered me too, because, either you got a no trade clause or you don't. Like, what are we talking about here, man?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I just don't get that. And nothing against Kuz, but let's be real, man. Like, we all need to know what our capabilities are, man. Like, you're not a number one option on a contending team. On a bad team, yes, but then we won 15 games. So what's that telling you? Here's the thing about his values, that sometimes Wizards fans tend to overvalue their own guys, man. We're overvaluing Kuzma, man. We're overvaluing him, man, because it's kind of like this, all right? With kids, right? You'll yell at your kids, say, "Why don't you pick up the trash and go throw it away, man?" He said, "Oh, well, I do, Daddy." He said, "Well, if you did, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, man." So look, it's like first round picks. It's like, if he was worth that, you would have gotten that. And the market is telling you what his true value is. They don't value him with 2 first-round picks. And here's the thing about the 2 first-round picks is that, they're not going to be lottery picks. If you make that move, they're going to be late first-round picks. And here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing about this rebuild. The pressure's not on the players. The pressure's on the coaching staff and the front office, because look, it's a rebuilding team. Look, there's no expectations for the players. Then, right, and especially when you just drafted 3 teenagers, no expectations right now. You know what I mean? Right now is development. Can this coaching staff develop this young talent? The front office, are you going to be able to flip these contracts? Like I said, I like Will Dawkins. I like Michael Winger. I think this front office, Travis Sling, I think this is a good front office. Now, but it's kind of like with Washington sports. People are ready to to crown them already. It's like, no, nothing has come to fruition yet. Enough for me to say this is one of the better front offices in the NBA. No, I see signs, but none of the draft picks have come to fruition. We haven't flipped any of the contracts. We're still in the infancy stage right now. So I do believe in Will Dawkins, but I'm going to hold back and saying, "Oh, this is one of the better front offices," because honestly, we haven't done anything yet. There's a whole lot of hope, but we haven't done anything yet. And like I said, I do like Will Dawkins. I think Michael Winger, I think these guys are going to build his team up. They're doing it the right way. You already see a difference between the Tommy Shepard era, the Ernie Grunfeld era. You see that they're rebuilding. It's going to take a long time. But looking back at Denny and Kuzma, I think that, Denny says he was blindsided. He had no idea what was going down. But I think the front office knew already, because look at the Mexico City poster.
Right.
I mean, when did that come out? That came out well before the draft, man. And who's on the poster? I don't see Denny anywhere on there. So I think the writing was on the wall well before the draft happened. So I think the three of us are in agreement, man, that none of us were shocked by the Denny move. I think that everybody's tradable, and they should be. Look, every GM comes into a new job putting a branding on the front office. And obviously, Bilal is his guy. So he's going to build around Bilal. He's going to build around Alex Sarr. And I would, because Alex Sarr and Bilal, man, they're going to be a heck of a tandem going forward, man. So, yeah, I'm with you on Kyle Kuzma. I don't know how he dodges these bullets, man. But, I mean,
man. I just have to say this, though, man. Like, Kyle Kuzma, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player. But we need to realize when to let players go.
Yeah.
And Kyle Kuzma is just another example of that. We fell into that trap with Bradley Beal. And then Kyle Kuzma comes right behind him. He did us no favors by taking that contract extension, knowing that we were actually going through a rebuild. I think he felt like he did because he's taking less money over the course of his contract. But your age matters, bro. Because if we got rid of a 23-year-old Denny, we got rid of a 24 turning 25-year-old Gafford.
Yeah.
Right? So even they don't fit the timeline of age right now, if you really think about it, for the rebuild. So I think the only thing that really justifies Kuz right now are the Jonas Valanciunases, are the Malcolm Brogdons. That's the only thing that really justifies Kuz. But right now, we're sellers of all of these players, in my opinion. We're sellers. So when do you sell Kuz? Like Kuz, I think we're past the point of the 2 first-round picks. That was the question, right?
Yeah.
Is he worth the 2? I think we're past that. So for all the people that got mad at me for saying that, oh man, Kuz worth 2 first-round picks. Yeah, he was. He was worth 2 first-round picks. Maybe 2-3 seasons ago, but not now.
I mean, just to say this, when it comes down to bulletproof, I think that the main thing that we need to, I know you guys keep, but the main thing that we have to understand is he's a solid player. Okay. He was a role player with the Lakers. We made him to be a third option, but let's keep it 100, folks. Since he's been here, you know how many games we've won since he's been here? 85. That's 3 more games than the actual NBA season. It's 82 games in the season. He won us 3 more. So we need to stop thinking that he's Jason Tatum, that he's whoever else he is Kyle Kuzma.
Great player. Great player.
Good guy.
Good guy.
Great personality. I understand he got a couple of businesses in the DC area. I know why he did it.
Yeah,
he's trying to stay here, what have you. But at the end of the day, when it's time to move him, it's time to move. And it's past time to move. He is expired milk right now. So he has to go. It's time.
I'll support the business out here. He got a business out here. I definitely go support that, even if he's not a Wizard.
Hey, man, no problem at all. Support the business. I mean,
I was over there yesterday, man.
Were you?
Yeah, I went over there yesterday, man, and because it's like a healthy spot, man. And I've never had cauliflower that was like good. I like veggies, but I don't like cauliflower, man. But they had some cauliflower that actually was pretty dope, man. So it's like healthy food, man. Because I didn't start eating healthy, man. I love me some barbecue, man. So it's a healthy. But I'm with you guys, man. Kyle Kuzma, I like Kyle Kuzma. If we weren't a rebuilding team, then I would have no problem with him being here. I like him as a player, but again, we treat guys and we kind of overvalue them too much, man. It's like you could put a spoiler on a Yugo, but it ain't a Mustang, man. Like you can't keep treating this dude like he's the number one option when he won a ring, and and nothing against the whole bubble ring, you know what I mean? But what was he, a third, fourth option on the Lakers? Like, you know what I mean? He was not a premier number one threat, man. So it's just I don't get it. Like I said, I do like Kuz, but enough to consult him on a trade, I don't understand that. And that was something that bothered me at the deadline because I fully expected he was gone.
It's one of the rare misses for the front office. The front office has been knocking it out the park.
Yeah.
The Bilal pick was a very good draft pick. This draft, they knocked it out the park. And then it's like, the Tyus thing, right? What's going on with that? It was like we kicked that can down the road on the Tyus thing, thinking we could sign and trade him. And then, of course, the Kuz. So they rarely miss, but that was a miss.
Yeah. I mean, I expect them to miss. I just want them, but the thing is, they're hitting a little bit more than they're missing versus what we dealt with in the past where we're just always missing. And it's kind of like we were so afraid to draft because we knew we couldn't draft. We did mediocre signings. We did mediocre trades. And then when we did trade good players, we traded them for simple things. This time around, the contracts that's being handed out to these guys, you already know it's a business deal because you can look at the contract and say, okay, because for one, they're not giving these guys player options. So really the player can't just opt out and say, hey, I'm going to want more money or I'm going to go here. It's like we have full control. But it did bother me consulting Kyle Kuzma about Dallas because in my opinion, it's like send them there. But if they felt like, hey, well, we got a better deal with Gafford because we didn't want to take, Grant Williams' contract. Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. But the only thing I can think of why he hasn't gone to Sacramento is maybe we're asking for Keegan Murray and Sacramento just don't want to give him up. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm with you on that. And I think that, again, the way we value players may not be the way that other teams value our players. It's kind of like grabbing wings at 7-Eleven. That ain't for everybody, man. Like either you think it's a good option or it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, So, I mean, we are overvaluing our guys, man. So, like I said, I understand the veteran moves. Jonas Valanciunas, I get perfect compliment to Alex Sarr. But you're banking on a lot for a 32-year-old center who his skill set is diminishing. I mean, it is. He is declining. And so, next year, you're going to get a clear picture of really where he's at because he's not going to be the same player early on in New Orleans. He's not going to be that same player in Memphis, man. He's not. And the good thing is we're not really expecting too much from Jonas. I mean, because you're looking at Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are going to be your number 1 and 2 options again this season coming up. So
another culture changer.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I said the word culture so many times this season, people got tired of it. I get it. Culture is an important thing in a rebuild, solidifying that culture. You saw that with Brian Keefe. And a lot of people weren't big on Brian Keefe until I started telling people. I said, look, pay attention. They're getting better under him. You saw the first 10 games under Brian Keefe, how much better they got than Wes Unseld Jr., because we all know what Wes couldn't do. Stagnant lineups. He couldn't make any adjustments. He just folded his arm, didn't do anything. Brian Keefe was a guy who said, look, man, I believe in my guys, but I'm not going to be a player's coach to the point where I'm going to let them do whatever they want. I'm going to set a standard and hold him to that standard, and that's what he's doing. So, I agree with you. Kyle Kuzma, I think that the best case scenario to move him would be a first-round pick in either an expiring deal or a young player. And that's going to be the best bet because the best chance to get those 2 first-round picks was at the trade deadline. And Sacramento, are you going to spend $23 million on a bench piece? Because if you look at the starting 5, where does Kyle Kuzma really fit in? Because you're looking at Fox at the 1. We'll see at the 2 is probably going to be Malik Monk. You got Keegan Murray. You've got DeRozan. And I know you can play DeRozan at the 2. You probably so probably what they'll do is slide DeRozan at the 2 and Murray or Kuzma go to the 3 or 4. But still, I mean, I don't know.
Outside of that, even what would a package look like? I guess would be my question.
Yeah, I mean, probably
a package, in my opinion. I mean, you're going to have to get multiple teams. So this goes back to what you keep talking about. WizTakes about the draft pieces, more so the protections on the pick that the New York Knicks have. As I sent to you earlier, the Knicks got 4 first-round picks. I think 2 of them are protected. So if the Knicks are really trying to win now, that's a team you could talk to and say, hey, look, give us one of those picks that you got for 2025 because they got at least 2 of them. Give us one of those. I think both of them are protected. The Knicks are 9 times out of 10. I think it's one that's top 13 protected. They're probably going to give us that one because they're going to give us the worst one. So you take that one, and then you don't have to worry about the draft next year because we already know this team is not going to do much of anything. You could possibly be picking 2 times next year in the draft. Yeah. So what teams could Kyle Kuzma be? To be honest with you, I don't even care what team he's a fit on. Just whatever team is willing to take him.
Yeah.
Whichever team is willing to take him, give you what you want, have that conversation with him, get Bulletproof the hell out of here. Just get him out of here.
And I think what you said, I think that's part of the problem, right? I don't think we're just willing to settle for any team or send them to any team. Like, I think there's a particular method to what's going on with Kyle Kuzma with the front office. They want a team. They have a team in mind. Maybe even have a pick, a couple picks that they want in mind. I think what's very important is that if you do move off of Kuz, try to get the two first round picks for the next 2 years, because it fits that 2 to 3 year window that they're really trying to build within. The turnaround is 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 3 years. 3 years is it. Because you best believe when they signed Bilal Coulibaly to that extension, they're expecting to make that next move. Because the year after is Alex Sarr. And then Bub Carrington, they're looking at him as the point guard of the future. So everything's for a reason. I guess one way to kind of justify the veteran moves, where it made me feel better at least, is that, yeah, they're high risk, but then this is what I do like about Will Dawkins. He's aggressive. You know what I mean? That's where you separate your average GMs from the GMs who build contenders, is taking those risks. And that's what I like. He's taking risks. Ernie Grunfeld didn't take any risks. I mean, he missed the ball so many times. He had a batting average like Joey Gallo. So you already know, man. Like, he just, you know what I mean? He missed all the daggone time. And then Tommy Shepard kind of made risk because, look, KP was a risky move. And I felt like, that was not a bad move because you were able to kind of get him healthy and then flip him. But then looking at that move, especially with Tyus Jones, and that's kind of my last question before we move on, is that with Tyus Jones, your best bet to trade him was those 4 second-round picks. Now he could potentially walk away for nothing. And then that kind of shines a whole new light on the KP move because we pretty much gave him away for nothing. So, looking at all that, I'm going to ask you guys real quick on the way out, man. Look at all the moves in all season, or really overall. Will Dawkins' resume in DC, where do you grade it right now? Looking at all the trades, the signings, and the draft choices. Let's start with Hoopla.
For me, it's kind of early to give him a grade because I'm still kind of waiting to see what happens. I'm expecting more moves, with the Tyus situation, man. I think it's just damage control at this point because I don't know what his number is. I think I heard he was looking at 17 million. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, Chris Paul got less than that, and he's a future Hall of Famer. What the hell makes you think you're going to get 6 million more than what he's getting? So if we don't trade him, yes, it will look bad for that whole KP trade. But we was kind of at a disadvantage with that situation anyway because he opted out. He was going to walk away regardless. Yeah. So for me, I would just say it's too early to grade him. This one I would have to kind of revisit after he's done.
Yeah. What do you think it takes?
I'm gonna give them an A- right now. I think they're doing an excellent job. Outside of Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones, I think they are doing a pretty stellar job with the draft. You can't really complain with the last 4 picks. Bilal, Sarr, Bub, Keyshawn, like that's 4-0, right? So we went from a team that's, we just hope to get any good player out of the draft to potentially getting 4 studs out of the draft. So they get an A on that. And then, like I said, it would be an A+ if, let's say, if they move Kyle, they move Kuzma at the deadline, we would have already had those assets. We would have already probably had some of those replacement picks. Like, let's just say, of course, we don't want to lose. We don't want to play well enough to lose the picks to New York, the next 2 years at all. We don't want to be, the 10th worst team, and then we lose that 2025 pick. We don't want to be the 8th or the 9th worst team and lose the 2026 pick. We want to keep those
what the Pistons are doing right now, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, but here this guy go. I mean, but the point is, right, is that we want to be, these are protected picks. Yes, we're going to be bad enough, right? But you don't want that hanging over your head. You don't want New York to control how your season's going to go. So it's best, regardless of what we think about the team. Sure, they could win 15, they can win 20 games, but it depends on the pool of bad teams at the same time. You could have a span of 9 to 10 bad teams, right? This season. It's a good draft. Everyone could finish somewhere between 25, 30, 32, 33 wins. We could be right there in the mix. The whole point is that if you move Kuzma for 25, 26, at least you have, 2 first round picks that you can rely on without those protections hanging over your head. And then of course Tyus Jones. We like I said earlier, we kicked the can down the road with him. If you had moved him already, you would have had some additional assets as well. Yeah. But now there's a potential that he's going to walk for nothing, and that hurts because, like you said, Brandon, the KP trade is really what we got back, for Tyus, and at the end of the day, if Tyus walks and we don't do that sign and trade, then we get nothing for KP, and that's what hurts. So. A- is the answer, so didn't mean to drag that out, but yeah, that's
yeah, it's all good. I mean, yeah. I think it's a little. I'm with Hoopla, man. I think it's a little too early to really give a grade, but because right now they say it's about the journey, right? Right now is where you see a lot of moving pieces. It's going from the outside looking in, it's going to look a lot sloppy right now. It's going to be, right now you're going to have your hits, you're going to have your misses. From a draft standpoint, I mean, what can you say? I mean, Bilal, money. Mm-hmm. Sar, money. I mean, Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, Tristan Vucevic. Vucevic of all, man, to me, was the most impressive one because the last 10 second-round picks, man, they're all on milk cartons. Like, you finally had a guy that came over here and contributed. You know what I mean? He actually showed up. Like, Yannick Zosa, I don't even know where he's playing now, man. He's somewhere in Siberia. I don't know. So, I mean, the trades,
about that dude.
Oh, I know, man. I don't even know where the guy's at, man. But, but if you look at the trade game, yeah, there's hits and misses. I mean, if you look at Gallinari, this was a guy that we were going to just buy out, and we were able to flip him and get Martin Bagley III. And yes, Martin Bagley III is an injury-prone guy, but he fits here in DC. It's just injuries have been his biggest issue. His biggest knocks have been a low motor, and I didn't see that in DC. I saw a guy that was motivated. So, the KP trade, we'll see, but the likelihood is Tyus Jones is going to walk for free, man. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and roll, guys. But before we go, man, anything you guys want to plug? Because I know that State of the Wizards podcast, man, I'm a big fan, man. I mean, so if you guys haven't already checked them out, definitely check out State of the Wizards, man, because my guy WizTakes and DCHoopla, man, they put out fire as far as content, man. But before we go, you guys got anything you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, just be sure if you guys haven't already, please follow us on Twitter at State of the Wizards. First and foremost, support the team. Then, check out me at Wizards Mafia on Twitter. And then I'll let K. Jose speak for himself with DCHoopla. But we appreciate anybody and everybody that come and support us. And State of the Wizards episodes will pick back up here very, very soon. So tune in for that. And yeah, we got something for y'all in this upcoming season.
Yeah, follow me at DCHoopla on X. Right now, I mean, I don't have the energy to go back and forth with a lot of people on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to talk hoop. Just follow me. I'll respond back. And just go Wizards. I mean, so far, I have no complaints with the draft. I mean, finally, this was a draft that I was actually happy with the results. So that's what Dawkins is doing. I'm trusting in the process, but yeah, man, be on the lookout for the State of the Wizards stuff coming soon.
Yes, sir, man. I'm telling you, what Dawkins is cooking like an air fryer, man. So again, I appreciate y'all coming on here, man. Definitely gonna bring you guys back on, man. Like I said, we always talking hoops, man. So definitely appreciate you guys coming on here and chopping it up with me, man. So again, tomorrow night is the live recap for the first summer league game for the Washington Wizards. So definitely tune in 9:30 on ESPN. Check out Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly. Or not Bilal, because Bilal in the Olympics. So definitely check out Alex Sarr and the young Wiz kids, man, in the summer league game. So again, definitely want to thank State of the Wizards for coming on, chopping up with your guy. Hail to the Wizards, and peace. See you guys next time.